Hello, everyone. I'm Major Garrett in Washington. Welcome to the Takeout. The U.S. military is carrying out strikes against Iran right now in retaliation for those drones we mentioned in the cold open. We'll get to that in a second. But first, this is the world's richest country. It is also the most competitive. People who acquire vast wealth here typically are not stupid. To the contrary, they have many layers of intelligence, and this is especially true for those who make vast sums of money in finance. They leave little to chance. They devour data and trends. They obsess over their competitors. They keep track of a lot of things. Leon Black amassed a fortune of $13 billion. He got his start in junk bonds and moved to leveraged buyouts, then to private equity, endeavors where cold-blooded capitalism is rewarded and where economic victims can be found. Leon Black was a close friend of Jeffrey Epstein's. How close? From 2012 to 2017, he paid Epstein $170 million for tax, estate planning, and other related services. That's the terminology. Quick check of the math, that's more than $30 million a year for tax and estate planning. No one who does this kind of work can understand that level of compensation. So, what about those other related services? What does that even mean? Well, Epstein also advised Black on how to deal with his extramarital affairs. That led Black to pay $20 million to a dozen women. Black also paid $62.5 million to the U.S. Virgin Islands to resolve potential legal claims related to Epstein's infamous island there and very deep allegations about sex trafficking through there. Black's name appears, according to Congressional Democrats, 8,000 times in the Epstein files that have been released thus far. The phrase, "call Leon Black," they say, appears more than 300 times. One other thing. Black sent a 50th birthday poem to Epstein that read in part, "Blonde, red, brunette, spread out geographically. With this net of fish, Jeff's now the old man and the sea." Black testified before the House Oversight Committee today. Things broke down when Republicans and Democrats demanded answers about non-disclosure agreements with women in Epstein's orbit, some of whom now assert they were victims of Epstein's abuse. After Black ended the interview, the committee issued 2 subpoenas.
I have just issued 2 subpoenas to Mr. Black, one for all the NDAs that he is party to, and second for a deposition on July 16th. So this is a result of refusing to answer specific questions about the NDAs and the terms. We believe that information is vital to our investigation. I will remind everyone that Mr. Black came in voluntarily, but they are refusing to disclose that. So I have issued the subpoena, and we are handing it to him as we speak.
Now, this committee has clashed at some times over its investigatory actions and procedures. It did not clash today.
I completely support Chairman Comer's decision here. I think that Mr. Black is not answering questions about the NDAs. The NDAs are central to us understanding what actually happened. There are real accusations, and there are survivors who have accused Mr. Black of horrific things.
Black has denied all wrongdoing. He told the committee he had no knowledge of Epstein's nefarious activity, said he was unaware of anything exploitive or criminal, and was drawn to Epstein's unrivaled network of relationships. Black's attorney spoke to reporters after he left Capitol Hill.
Mr. Black came here voluntarily to assist the committee. They made a premeditated political decision to serve him with subpoenas after less than an hour of questioning and before they even asked a single question about his legitimate payments to Epstein. I want to be clear. As Mr. Black said in his opening statement, he never abused a woman. He never was with an underage woman. He never engaged in sex trafficking. He never paid Epstein for access to women. He was never blackmailed by Epstein.
Black said he never knew anything He never did anything wrong, and he has no knowledge of any wrongdoing. He paid Epstein a lot of money. He paid a lot of money to others to conceal things and avoid further legal action. But he never knew anything or did anything. Perhaps a subpoena and the threat of perjury before Congress will shed more light on all this. Joining me now, member of the House Oversight Committee, Virginia Democratic Congressman Suhas Subramanyam. So, Congressman, let's get to Iran very, very quickly, because that's the breaking news. The United States, according to a release from Central Command, is in ongoing military strikes against what it describes as Iranian missile and drone storage locations and coastal radar sites. Your reaction?
It's not surprising. Iran is difficult to deal with in the first place, and then you have an administration that has showed itself to be incompetent when it comes to foreign affairs and diplomacy. And so that's why you have the breakdown of all these frameworks, and that's why you have continued tit-for-tat attacks. I don't think this war is anywhere near over. I don't think this framework or this deal that they made, this 14-point deal, is going to hold up in the short term and long term. So they're going to have to figure out a way forward. But right now, if Iran's striking, vessels and not opening the Strait of Hormuz, and then there's a tat with return strikes, then that to me doesn't sound like peace or a ceasefire.
How does it read to you that this was announced by Central Command after markets closed?
I think it reads exactly the way we're implying here, which is that this administration looks closely at the stock market. They look closely and they manipulate the markets often. They come out with news on Fridays and Mondays based on how they think the markets will react. And then at this point, releasing this news after markets, there's a reason for doing that.
All right, let's get back to what happened today at the committee and Leon Black. What was it like in there? What was the atmosphere?
It was interesting because I had 3 hours worth of questions, and so did the committee. And yet Leon Black is telling us that we had this premeditated strategy to corner him and to subpoena him fully. Remember, this was a transcribed interview. Republicans decided that they wanted to not have him sworn in and have him deposed under oath. But I think they changed their tune when they saw that Leon Black, like many other witnesses close to Epstein, was not answering questions. He was not being forthcoming with us. He said from the very beginning he would not talk about anything other than his financial ties to Jeffrey Epstein, but that he had nothing to do when it comes to sexual assault or rape or sex trafficking. So if he has nothing to hide, why not talk about it? Why not answer our questions? And then when it comes to the NDAs, he flatly refused to even acknowledge the existence of NDAs. NDAs don't hold up in front of Congress. I don't think they understand that Congress is not a court of law. We're different, and when we're doing an investigation, they need to comply with our investigation. And so, their lawyer was not up to speed on the way things work in a congressional deposition. But I'm glad that the chairman went forward with issuing him a subpoena, and he's going to come back on July 16th, I hope. Otherwise, he'll be going to jail.
Congressman, for those who don't follow this story closely, explain the importance of these non-disclosure agreements with women who were in Jeffrey Epstein's circle and that you suspect Leon Black has more knowledge than he's so far disclosed.
Right. So Leon Black bankrolled Jeffrey Epstein from after he was first arrested in 2008. You're talking about 2012 to 2017. And so part of what Leon Black's strategy was to make girls women sign these NDAs when something with them happened, whether it was an extramarital affair. And a lot of survivors have said that he also engaged in the sex trafficking and sexual assault at times. And he was very brutal, and they were afraid of him. And so, he was intimately working with Jeffrey Epstein on financial matters. And somehow Jeffrey Epstein was able to get paid enormous sums. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars for work that costs a fraction of that amount from a reputable firm. And so it doesn't add up. The only way it adds up is if Leon Black is guilty of something. And so that's why we had questions for him. These NDAs that were central to understanding how Leon Black controlled the people around him, including the women who accused him of sexual assault.
For my audience's benefit, Congressman, explain the power of a congressional subpoena and what can happen if you ignore it or you lie under it.
Yeah, absolutely. When we subpoena someone and they do not respond, they do not show up, we can hold them in contempt of Congress. That happened earlier this year. I think wrongfully it happened earlier this year when Republicans on the committee wanted to have criminal sanctions against the Clintons, even though I think they made every effort to. In this case, Leon Black is now just being issued a subpoena. And if he does not comply, meaning he does not give us the NDAs that he used to control these women, if he does not show up for his deposition on July 16th, then we can vote to hold him in criminal contempt of Congress, refer that to the Department of Justice, who will then prosecute him, and we'll see him go to jail.
Virginia Democrat Suhas Subramanyam, I appreciate the time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.